FirePower 2 MPU and driver board here for repair. And as is so frequently the case, the CPU board and the driver board received quite a bit of alkaline corrosion. And you can see in the stills that I'm going to roll in at the front of this video that this whole area on the driver board was corroded. Two of the traces on the MPU were corroded also. This one that runs up to this IC here, and the trace that runs from the blanking down to the driver board was corroded too, so that would have never worked. I installed a blanking on LED with a big label that says what's good. I've abated all the alkaline corrosion. We've got new headers on every header on both the MPU and the driver board. The old round headers with fractured solder joints are a thing of the past. This board needed the 40-pin socket for the processor replaced, as it was a Scan-B Creptastic processor. The sockets for the ROM chips were all just fine here. They're not Scan-B sockets, and when you pry underneath them, they creak a little bit, which tells me that they've still got good strength. I socketed and installed an NVRAM. There was a socket there, but the prior installation was so bad I couldn't let it leave my shop like that, so I took it out and replaced it. Filter caps on the 5-volt power supply on both boards. Again, headers all the way around here. Had to replace all these parts here. Those are all new. And it did have two blown, well, this one was blown. And this one, as frequently happens on these boards, these transistors tend to crack off because they get mishandled. So replace that one too. 40-pin interconnect, both male and female, replaced. Probably some other things here. Here's everything I did. It's listed on both these labels. And let's power it up. So I've got it connected to a FirePower era display. So the difference is FirePower 2 is a 7-digit system and FirePower is a 6-digit system. So some of the displays won't quite look right. The lamp matrix is doing its thing, and the only solenoid that's on right now is the coin lockout solenoid. And that solenoid 4 that is blinking, that's probably a flasher. So let's put it into test. And the first test is display test. And you can see that everything's working just fine there. The next test is sound test. So you're going to see these LEDs on this bar graph just go up one at a time. This is equivalent to a sound signal to the soundboard being grounded. It's not very exciting. The bright LED is the one that's on. The other ones are not in fact on. The next test is lamp test. Everything is working there. And the next test is solenoid test. So it'll go through 1 through 16, and when it gets to the coin lockout relay, that LED will turn off, and then it will go through the next 6 on the lower side of my tester, which are the special solenoids. There's number 3 in the special, 4, 5, and 6 right now, and then it's going to restart. Now I want to test the switch inputs for the special solenoids, which come in this bare connector, and I use a ground wire that I've got connected to the power supply, and I'm just going to rake this connector like this, and you'll see the special solenoids fire over here, and there'll be 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little collision in timing here. Let me start over after that finishes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all those are working properly. And that is the end. Oh, I'm sorry. Switch test. So I have my Pennytech switch tester here. And let me trade hands. And I'm going to go through everything on column 1. And then everything on row 1. And this looks squirrely across 2 displays because, again, this is a 6-digit display system. And the last switch for FirePower 2 is 49, so that is the last switch that would enunciate. I have to keep track of these. Williams, for whatever reason, in this vintage game system, didn't test all or wouldn't enunciate all 64 switches. So I just advanced everything through all the audits and adjustments, and we're back to where we were before, and everything is working just as it's supposed to. I thank you so much for sending it in, and I thank you for your patience.